The clock is ticking on Windows 7, which means those last-minute Windows 10 upgrade projects are really picking up momentum. Steve Ranger is here with us to talk about Windows 7 versus Windows 10. So, Steve, just right out of the gate here, we're talking about a large number of users for Windows 10. Expand on that.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So we heard recently that Windows 10 has now hit 800 million users around the world, which is a pretty big number, however you look at it. Now, it's been a while getting there, and Microsoft might have hoped it would get there a little faster than it has already. It kind of by now, it hoped to be hitting more like a billion, but still, 800 million is a lot of people using it. That still means there are a lot of people out there using Windows 7, hundreds of millions potentially, and this year is really going to be a crunch time for the people using Windows 7 because Windows 7 goes out of support in January next year. So really now is the time for people to be thinking about what they're going to do next.
In terms of that, talk about that a little bit more, Steve, for the people that maybe haven't heard of this or have heard that they're going to need to move. What are their options?
Sure. Well, at the moment, using Windows 7 is absolutely fine. Come January next year, Microsoft won't be offering any more bug fixes for you unless you pay. Now, if you want to start paying Microsoft for the additional support, you can absolutely do that. Otherwise, as of January next year, Windows 7 goes out of what they call is support. So it means that if there are new bugs, well, you might not get them fixed. Microsoft wants to move you all onto Windows 10, obviously, because that means it doesn't have to support these old systems, and also it can kind of like push forward with new advances around things like virtual reality and HoloLens and all that kind of stuff. But really, it wants to get you all onto Windows 10. Whether you do that or not is kind of up to you, but now is the time when you start making those decisions. You might decide to go to Linux instead or go wherever else. But right now, if you're on Windows 7, you have a few decisions to make. You've still got time. What's happening right now, particularly in businesses, is they're making those decisions. A lot of them are starting their upgrade process, and that's why that 800 million number on Windows 10 is probably going to go up quite fast this year. Who knows, maybe by next year it'll be 900 million or even more, because enterprises are quite slow moving, and now they decided they want to start making that move from Windows 7, which has been a great workhorse for them for almost a decade, but deciding to move now to Windows 10.
Yeah, and for Steve, for some that are procrastinators, that's definitely not a good thing. It's from a business standpoint because it's a pretty big transition. Talk about what will go into that for a company.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So companies will have to think about whether the hardware they've got, the PCs, the laptops, whether those can actually support Windows 10 because it's a significant upgrade from Windows 7. Whether the applications they've got will still work with Windows 10, and basically it's got a whole new look and feel to it. So training up staff is going to be an issue as well. Maybe less of an issue than it was a few years ago because if you go out and buy a consumer PC now, it's going to have Windows 10 on, so people will be used to having it at home. But those are the sorts of things that companies will have to think about. The analysts are saying that we're going to see a kind of a last-minute rush this year, particularly smaller companies who haven't really thought about this so far, suddenly realize that Windows 7 goes out of support in January, suddenly deciding they've got to do something about it. It's absolutely fine. Larger companies will have already got those transition plans in place because actually an upgrade of this scale can be quite disruptive and can take quite a lot of time and effort. So they've had to put these plans in place a bit further back. So yeah, there's a lot to think about. You've still got time, but you should be thinking about it. I think is the message that probably Microsoft would like you to hear.
Yeah, some good advice there because January 2020 will be here before we know it. Steve, thank you so much for this. For more, of course, on Steve's article and the changes with Windows, be sure to check out ZDNet.